Hi Type P personalities, this is Tracy Brown coming to you today, April 28th, 2015. Today, if you didn't notice already, we're going to go back to the introduction part of my online tutorial, and we're going to discuss the Death card. One of the scariest cards in the deck. Some of the Rider-Waite decks shows the Death card as extremely scary. This one doesn't. Remember, I used the Witch's Tarot. The Witch's Tarot is not so scary. The name is the worst part. So, don't forget to get the book, Plain and Simple by Anthony Lewis. If you haven't seen it, Tarot, Plain and Simple by Anthony Lewis. I'm pretty much reading it verbatim. And then get the app, the Witch's Tarot app. Oh my God, it's so amazing. I love it. Today we're going to talk about the Death card. And the Death card, when you look, I should have pulled it right there, ready to be used. When you look at the Death card, there is a lot of red in the Death card, and that's pretty much indicative in all of the tarot cards. Red is significant because it's a heightened level of passion. White is also very significant. It's always seen with the white horse for the most part. You know, like there's all different type of tarot cards. There's like kitty with cats on it, kitty tarot cards. You know, you have to look at the cards for the type of card that you brought it and get the impression that you get based upon the graphics. For the most part, it usually comes in a white horse. White horse means to bring in change, ride it in. It's fast. It's a stallion. A stallion's just black horses or white horses, but it doesn't really matter. The action of a stallion type of a horse. In this deck, there is a child here, which, through the innocence of a child who's also wearing white. White stands for spirituality. Let's be clear about that. It's God-like energy, universe-like energy. With the child in the picture, offering up the flowers, not only are you ready for this change, you know, it's kind of like retreat to an innocence of total faith. The black vest that the child is wearing is about it being solid. Yes, changes occurred. It's concrete. It had to happen. Whether you invited it or not, it's mandated. But with the Death card, for the most part, you invite this change, for the most part. So with the Death card, it means major transformation. It means necessary and profound change. It means the end of a cycle, but the beginning of something new. Didn't we discuss that a little bit with the Wheel of Fortune? Do you see how some of these cards, if they're together, if they're pulled in a spread together, then there's no mistaking the energy of change. Leaving the past behind to begin something new. Remember? Similar wording with the Wheel of Fortune. Go back to the Wheel of Fortune, come back here, and then you'll see how they can communicate effectively, particularly if you're pulling a spread. Entering on a new way of life. Death of the old you. Remember, one of the things I want to bring about with the Death card is change has occurred, but in a way where you grew up. You were just never the same after that. Doesn't always have to be good, but it's still about I was never the same after that. Could also mean empowerment. Rebirth. Renewal. Sudden and inevitable change. Also could be a transition that you go through, because the transition could include cleansing, purging, revitalizing, stripping away the worthless matter, liberation. Liberation through purgation. Grieving the loss of what you used to have. Grieving the loss of a former lifestyle. Inevitable endings. Change of status. And I like change of status because you know what death reminds me of? Death kind of reminds me of pregnancy or giving birth. Maybe not pregnancy so much, but the literal aspect of giving birth. Because it's at that moment that you give birth that you're never the same again. No one can never not call you a mother because you gave birth. It means, and then it could include grieving the loss of, I'm never going to be single again. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm always going to be a mommy. Some girls go through that. Or some girls are like, I love being a mommy. Oh, single life sucked. Or non-motherhood sucked. Doesn't matter to me. It just means something about you can never go back to who you were, particularly if you became a mommy. Can you see that as a really good example? That's what I'm trying to point out. Grieving the loss of a former lifestyle. It means inevitable endings, change of status. Change of status meaning marriage or divorce, starting or leaving a job, leaving home, relocating, the end of a relationship. Here's a good one. And we've all experienced this. I would hope you've all experienced this. Except for kids that are watching out there. Ignore this part. Loss of your virginity. You can't take it back again. Do you get that? Spiritual regeneration. And spiritual people, like, you must get that. There is a point in your life where your spirituality just means the world to you. Like, everything about life just looks and feels different. That's the death card. Shedding of outmoded attitudes and reincarnation. Death is the number 13. The number 13 in the major arcana. It's associated with death, literally, and regeneration. And a major change is about to take place. Transformation is imminent. The death card appears when you're facing life events like marriage, divorce, leaving home, relocating, career moves, parenthood. It's a momentous altercation in your life structure that you can never revert back to. A situation is coming to an end, but something new is dawning. Now is the time to rid yourself of bad attitudes that has kept you stuck or confined in a situation. Rid yourself of something that you've outgrown to pave the way for something new and amazing. But the old you, the old person, must be discarded. The spirit of that person can't carry into the new you. When the death card comes up, it's a time for endings and a time for beginnings. It literally means those that are undergoing major life changes. It means the agent of change. Also means undertakers because it literally means death. I don't want anyone to be scared of the death card. The death card is actually one of my favorite. Oh, and by the way, when death shows up in your lifetime, you could have this experience over and over and over and over again. Because the good part about the death card is that we're always changing. We're always growing. Something about our spirit needs to die to get to the greater part of the good. And so if you have this experience of death, or the agent of change walks in, the spirit of change walks in, I would say embrace it. It's a good thing. With the death card, in some decks it does look like the Grim Reaper, because the graphic artist is a little morbid and people like that kind of stuff. Death literally means stepping over the old part of you that is not working for your spirit any longer. We all want happiness. We all want to be loved. Death is that part of us that hasn't allowed it to come in for a whole host of reasons. I don't even want to go into the reasons why. But when you allow death to come in and decide, I don't like me anymore, or I like this part of me, but I'm unhappy, and you decide to make that change, it's an amazing feeling to be that happy. And you look back in your life and you go, oh my God, I can't believe I stayed in that. It was so miserable. That could be anything, by the way. The reverse of death, remember, we talk about the reverse all the time now. This is reverse. It's resistant to change. Does that make sense? In the reverse, it means being bullheaded, being at a standstill, being stagnant, fear of change. We've had that. We've met people like that. Fear of releasing a situation that's outmolded, or an attitude that's not working. We find that a lot with gay rights. Like, this is a great example for someone who may have been brought up a certain way concerning gays, and then the son turns out gay, or the daughter turns out gay, and then you're like, oh, I get it. Hopefully you don't have to learn the lesson that way. Hopefully you could just learn to just love gays, but maybe you didn't in the past, but you do now. That's the death card upright. That's the willingness to change. Upside down is, no, I'm going to keep my attitude. It works for me. That's not a good thing. The death reverse. We want to grow. We want to change our attitudes. And you don't want to have someone that you're reading for and this comes upside down. It sucks. Taking an extreme position. That's the death card reverse. Refusal to change. Being obstinate and decayed. Ugh, it's so disgusting. Turning your back on the future. Isn't that interesting? Not wanting to embrace love because you're so fearful. These are just examples, people. Not wanting to change jobs because you don't like the job, you almost hate it, but why change now? Those are examples of turning your back on the future. Depression, death reverse. Being in limbo, death reverse. And this is one very interesting death reverse. Being forced to give up what you would not normally do voluntarily. Death also means prison. Death also means prison. In the Rider-Waite deck, which is one of my favorite descriptions, it's a devil, and there's two people, and they've got chains around their neck, and they're attached to the devil, and then... oh, that's the devil. Never mind. Let's stay on death. But that's interesting, though. Being forced to give up what you would not let go voluntarily, because actually what I got with that was like prison, or somebody that's accused unnecessarily. So you can see once again how death and devil can relate. We'll talk about devil down the line. So that's it for the tutorial. I hear everyone liking the tutorial. I'm still uncomfortable, so I'm trying to find a comfort place here, and it's just not morphing enough for me, so I'm hoping I get better. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Call me for your own personal reading, 818-985-2010, 818-985-2010. Thank you. I really appreciate your comments, so keep them coming. Take it easy. Bye.